Before the cameras, before the sold-out gyms, before he was Hansel Enmanuel, the viral sensation, he was just a kid from Santo Domingo, a boy raised in the Dominican Republic, where the courts were cracked and the rims were bent, but the love for the game, that was real. It ran through the streets like electricity. For Hansel, it ran in his blood. His dad, a former pro hooper himself, wanted his son to chase the same dream, but that dream nearly ended before it even started. At 6 years old, while playing near a cinder block wall, tragedy struck. The wall gave out and collapsed on Hansel, buried him. He was trapped for 2 hours. When they finally pulled him out, his arm was beyond repair. The doctors had no choice: amputation. Now pause for a second. Imagine you're 6, you just lost your arm, your childhood is shattered, and you come from a place where medical resources are limited, and the idea of disability support is almost non-existent. That should have been the end of his basketball story. But that's the thing about Hansel. He never saw himself as disabled. He never saw himself as a victim. All he saw was a ball and a court. So he started playing. One hand, no excuses, no shortcuts. He failed, fell, got up, and failed again. But every day he got a little faster, a little smoother, a little scarier. Until one day he wasn't just the one-armed kid who played basketball. He was a basketball player. Period. By the time he moved to the US in high school, coaches weren't just intrigued, they were stunned. He was doing Euro steps, throwing lobs, pinning shots on the backboard, breaking ankles, and doing it against some of the best young players in the country. He was relentless. Every game was a statement. The message was clear. I'm not here to inspire you. I'm here to beat you. There are viral athletes, and then there are viral legends. Hansel Enmanuel didn't just go viral. He broke the algorithm. One moment he was just a kid trying to prove himself in Florida. The next he was a global phenomenon. Millions of views, millions of fans. A one-armed high school hooper who was doing things even two-handed players couldn't dream of. People weren't just watching out of pity. They were watching because he was cooking defenders. And it wasn't just the fans, it was the media, scouts, celebrities, legends. He played in the Slam Summer Classic, side by side with names like Bronny James and Mikey Williams, shared the court with 4- and 5-star recruits, and guess what? He belonged. The thing about Hansel was, he didn't play like someone trying to overcome a disability. He played like someone trying to put you on a poster, and that confidence, it was magnetic. He quickly signed NIL deals, big ones, Gatorade, Adidas, T-Mobile. He was on magazine covers. He had endorsement campaigns. He became a brand, a movement, a symbol of perseverance. But here's the thing about viral fame. It doesn't wait for you to grow. It's instant. It's everywhere. And then, it's gone. Hansel's name was lighting up platforms across the world, but beneath all that, he was still just a teenager, still raw, still learning, still developing. And when the hype train slowed down, one uncomfortable question remained. Was Hansel Enmanuel just a viral story? Or was he built to really make it in basketball? Because at some point, you have to stop being a highlight and start being a player. High school was Hansel's playground, but college is a battlefield. Because here's the truth. Everyone in Division I was that guy in high school. Everyone was the best player on their team, the star of their town, the one coaches dreamed of recruiting. And when Hansel committed to Northwestern State University in 2022, he stepped into a whole new world. Gone were the viral cameras. Gone were the high school defenders that gave him space out of fear or confusion. Here, every possession was earned, every mistake was punished, and for the first time in a long time, Hansel looked human. His freshman season wasn't flashy. He didn't start, barely played, just 8 minutes per game. On the stat sheet, he was invisible. And in a sport where numbers define narratives, the world stopped watching. The YouTube highlight reels dried up, and GQ interviews stopped. The crowd that once screamed for him now whispered. And this is where most people would have quit, packed it up and said, I made it farther than anyone expected, walked away with dignity. But Hansel, he didn't flinch. He stayed in the gym, getting better, watching films, lifting weights, fine-tuning footwork, learning how to play within a system, not just above the rim. More than anything, he was adjusting to the mental game of college basketball, the pressure, the scrutiny, the loneliness. Because when you go from being the miracle to being a role player, that's not just physical, That's spiritual. Hansel was learning how to fight a new kind of battle, the one that doesn't go viral. So, what happened to Hansel Enmanuel? He didn't fade away. He didn't give up. He didn't disappear. He just stopped chasing the spotlight and started chasing substance. In 2023, he transferred to Austin Peay, a smaller school but a fresh start. No hype machine, no viral headlines, just basketball. And that's exactly what he needed, because Hansel never asked to be a symbol. He just wanted to hoop. He's still training, still improving, still fighting for every minute, every possession, every breakaway dunk that makes the crowd forget he only has one arm. And maybe he won't ever make the NBA. Maybe he'll never sign a shoe deal or hear his name on draft night. But maybe that was never the point, because Hansel Enmanuel already won. He won the moment he stepped on a high school court and outplayed every excuse. He won the moment he made it to Division I basketball with a body the game wasn't designed for. He won the moment a little kid missing a limb saw him on Instagram and said, "If he can do it, maybe I can too." That's legacy. Not stats, not trophies, not first-round picks. Legacy is impact. And in that department, Hansel is already a Hall of Famer. He came from a country where no one gave him a chance, lost an arm before he ever made a layup, was told he'd never be a real player, and now he's the blueprint. Not for how to make it to the NBA, but how to make it through life with grit, grace, and one hand on the ball.